Hello tea drinkers, we are here in another park in North London to talk to you about oolong tea. Oolong tea feels like the right thing to do at this time of year. Seasons are changing and the semi-oxidised nature of oolong is the perfect time to enjoy this particular type of tea. But before we get into that, Tatjana, how are you?
I'm very good, yeah. It's really exciting to keep doing these videos and sharing our tea journey with you guys. So yeah, if you do like our videos, please make sure to subscribe to our channel and give us a thumbs up because we really want to see your love.
We're sitting on a few videos now that we've started recording. We went to Bremen and we went to Gibraltar. We didn't film in Gibraltar, but we filmed in Bremen, some Ostfriesen land type teas.
That's right.
So we just need to be pushed into doing it. We're close to 200 subscribers, maybe we can make that our mark. But for today, we are off the mark with some Lan Gui Ren Oolong. This is something that is not from the traditional oolong growing regions. Those are 4 regions that I'll touch upon shortly, but this is traditionally from Yunnan province. And what they do is they compress tea leaves with ginseng and licorice grass. And it creates these tablets of oolong tea, and now they are more commonly grown in Fujian province. Time lapse complete. There is tea. So the Lan Gui Ren has been brewed. We have done that at about 90 to 95. To be honest with you, we're not as hot in our thermos as we want to be, but the taste should still be delicious. So we're looking for sweet and also orchidy floral notes. So you can get that on the nose. Oh, it's nice. I really love that. And you get that ginseng and you get that licorice root coming through that gives it that slightly orchidy quality alongside the tea. It's a really stunning jewel in our box.
It's a pretty sweet tea actually when it comes to oolongs. It's a bit darker than some of the oolongs because they can be a bit closer to green tea on the spectrum, or a bit closer to black tea. This one is kind of in the middle, but you can see it's got a beautiful yellow golden liquor, and I just love how it looks. It's just compressed tablets that I've never seen anything like that. Yeah. So when we were sourcing the teas, I think this one is just such a unique tea. And yeah,
unique blend, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's lovely to have something different in our box like that.
So, on to the next one. I will keep sipping this. We have, I guess, to sort of introduce the idea of these oolongs. When we said this one is from Yunnan province traditionally, and it's now grown in Fujian. This sort of style has been imported into the oolong growing regions. It's divided up in a way that Fujian, Gaundong and Taiwan are the 3 provinces, of which North Fujian and South Fujian have distinctive styles. And then there are Gaundong and Taiwanese oolongs that sit separately. So the 4 styles come from 3 regions. And what we're going to look at today is kind of a range between those different regions. Da Hong Pao is possibly the most famous oolong amongst the lot. There are some great myths behind the story, such as of a scholar that was walking through the mountains near to the 9 Dragon Cave where this is grown, on top of the Wuyi Mountains in that part of the world, and he came across a monk as he was feeling sick on his journey to his exam. The monk gave him some tea. He went, after feeling invigorated and energized, to that exam where he ended up to ace it. He was nailing that exam. Things started to go well for him and he got what is called a red robe, which in Chinese mythology, or at least in Chinese culture at the time, that was a position of power alongside the emperor, and he would advise the emperor on various different responsibilities that the emperor had, and looking for that support from people who wore the red robes. So Da Hong Pao is named because the scholar went back to the place where the monk had given him the tea, to that monastery that can still be visited today in the region, to ask about the plants. He took him to 9 Dragon Cave, where these tea trees, 6 of them that still exist today, are growing out of the ground there and have been for thousands of years. And this is the special tea that he tried, and this is the one that he lay his red robe around, and it gives it its name, Da Hong Pao.
Big red robe, or
Big red robe.
imperial red robe. Tea from the original Dahong Pao tea bushes is worth more than gold. Apparently, they've given some to Nixon back in the days, and they've given him like, I don't know, 50 gram or some like really, really small quantity, and he's like, well, that's a bit stingy. They're like, it's worth like thousands for us, so it's a really big deal. So it's funny how we can see here, I think, differences in culture where Chinese people really value their tea and they know how much it's worth, whereas in our Western world we're like, well, it's tea. But yeah, there is, you know, good quality tea is so hard to find, and most of the Dahong Pao teas that you find in shops are actually made from the clones of those tea bushes that are on the top of the 9 Dragon Cave. And this is a tea that is closer to black tea in terms of the oxidization level. It's coming from North Fujian part of the province, very close to the Wuyi Mountains, and Wuyi Mountains is absolutely stunning. It grows in high altitude, obviously, and the way that they make their tea is they don't really roll it too much, like some of the, like for example, Angxi Benshan or Tia Guanyin. So it's a bit more ribbon-like in its appearance, rather than rolled in small bowls.
For comparison, now we're touching upon the differences between the styles. You will see then that North Fujian oolongs are typified by this slightly darker, slightly more roasted, slightly ribbon-like quality, and that South Fujian oolongs are becoming increasingly lightly roasted. They're moving away from that dark side of the palate, more towards of tightly rolled, greener balls, exhibited by the Tia Guanyin, as Tatjana said, which is the most famous oolong from that part of the world. They have these conference centres in Anxi County, which is kind of like the heartbed of that part of China, the South Fujian area, where they just focus on Tia Guanyin. And that is their sole interest in exhibiting this massive place where tourists can go and visit just to publicise about that one tea. Big Red Robe is known for its slightly mineral flavour. Because it is grown in high altitudes in the Wuyi Mountain from clones of the original plant, it should retain some of those rock-like yancha qualities that we're looking for from rock oolongs, which are typified from North Fujian. So you'll notice it'll be much deeper and much earthier on the nose due to that additional roasting that they do. You'll notice the liquor itself is much darker, but still has that sort of amber-like, honey-like quality. It doesn't come out like black tea, for example. And it's a classic for a reason. It really is deliciously warming and nutty and earthy and still aromatic. So it's a really complex, deep flavour, the Dahong Pao.
I'll have some.
And there's a reason I think that Scholar was a fan. So oolong in and of itself is, as one of the theories as to why it's called oolong, is a tribute theory, where previously they had a style of pressing tea into cakes. Phoenix dragon cakes was what they were known by, because they used to put phoenix or dragon almost carvings but more pressings into the tea cakes that they were creating. And the style then moved on in the 1600s, which Tatjana was referring to a loose leaf style, which is how oolong kind of at that time also got discovered. It wasn't so much a part of those traditional tea cultures in China at the time. It was in between, and the reason therefore for the name oolong, Black Dragon tea is how that gets translated. Black Dragon tribute tea is the tribute theory that is one of 3 theories as to why this tea is called oolong. The other one being to do with the Wuyi Mountains, Wulong Wulong. This is also related to the 9 Dragon Cave that we were discussing earlier. And the other theory for why it is because of a guy called Wu Liang, and his name being corrupted over time. And he was someone who had a tea harvest that was left to oxidize for a short time because he was distracted by a deer.
And it became an oolong.
And he's a very
Yeah.
famous tea creator, and this is part of his mythology as well. And it's very
Exactly.
fascinating. I don't know if you feel strongly one way or another. Let us know in the comments if you have a particular view on which theory
Which
might
theory
be the most
do you
accurate,
prefer?
because it's hard to say. So, 2 teas in, and we're going to bring out some special teaware. This has been sent to us. We're going to give you a link in the description to Kevin's Instagram, but he makes these incredible tea sets that are designed for travel and come in a really nice carry case and nicely protected with a little cloth to keep it all together. And here is what you will discover inside as I carefully take the cloth away from the china. Okay. So, this is a bit like a Russian doll situation. We have a lid, and we have various different little pieces of teaware for sipping, including this
It's like a mini teapot.
Guy One style filter teapot that allows you to strain your leaves into, I assume, your sharing cup, and straight away you've got yourself the tea into this beautiful set. And we're going to try those with the teas that we've got now. So the first one we're going to go for is Anji Benshan, and we mentioned earlier that this is from South Fujian, and South Fujian, as I distribute our coasters that also come with the set. And South Fujian is, as I said, typified by these semi-rolled balls rather than ribbon-like strips, and look a lot like Tia Guanyin, if I'm honest with you. This is really delicious, by the way.
Wow, this is much grassier actually, and still has this like honey and sweet flavor. But because you can also see, you know, the leaves are much greener. Whereas, for example, Da Hong Pao is much more complex, rich and dark. This is much lighter. This is really nice as well.
This is the
so
Da Hong Pao?
Yeah, it's so much more mineral, and it's interesting actually to compare. When you get the box, I would recommend you to kind of steep them all and just compare them, because they're so different. All of them. It's unbelievable that they're all oolongs, but they taste completely different.
Benshan, for example, translates as Source Mountain, literally, and Ansi, Source Mountain, Ansi being what we discussed earlier, that particular part of South Fujian. These are cultivars that are unique to these particular areas, and that's kind of what makes some of the differences quite exciting when you notice them. And this is what we're trying to really enhance for you with this box, trying to understand those subtleties and differences.
Exactly. Yeah, they're so unique. Every single oolong has so much character, and this is what we really like about pure loose leaf tea. You know, that it's so brilliant on its own, without any flavorings and without any additives, and it's basically how the nature makes them. and yeah, maybe with a bit different processing, they develop such amazing, unique flavors. And actually, the last oolong that we're going to talk about is called milk oolong. And it doesn't have any milk in it, it doesn't have any flavorings, but it has this amazing, strong, sweet, milky aroma. And it comes from Taiwan. It grows in high altitudes.
We've already drunk most of it.
We've already drunk most of it, I'm sorry. Whoops, our sample box is getting smaller and smaller. I couldn't resist, I'm sorry.
I can't blame you either. It is really stunning. It's something really quite different. You've got to try it to experience it. It is milky and floral, and when we talk milky, it scares people, and yet people put milk in tea anyway as the moment stands in terms of what UK culture is all about. For us, we're not adding any milk. We're not expecting things to be milky in any sense like you'd think about tea being milky normally. it's the flavour. It's the flavour profile, it's very unique, and it's very soft on the palate. And due to the high mountain environment in which they grow in Taiwan, Taiwan being one of the regions that we discussed at the start, Taiwan's oolong style is very much to be somewhere that does Chinese styles from different areas. So within Taiwan, you'll find North and South Fujian styles of oolong grown there. The difference being their terroir, it's really tall in Taiwan. They've got some massive mountain ranges. We're talking really high altitudes here. In terms of the geographer and me, that means you're getting higher precipitation at those sorts of peaks. We were just in Gibraltar where we could see the cloud rolling over that enormous mountain there. It's the same story in Taiwan. All of this cloud creating humidity, creating dampness, enriching the soil, creating these unique and more enhanced flavors that you can now enjoy in terms of that milkiness that has been exacerbated within it. It's really delicious. So
Let's do it. I'm excited.
I'm excited as well. And
Which one would you say is your favorite, Tom? It's hard to choose, isn't it?
yeah, it's really hard. I like the story behind Da Hong Pao a lot, and I am a sucker for some of the darker ones, but you know what? The South Fujian style is really satisfying. There's one more style which is Gaundong Oolong, which we haven't included in this box. So North Fujian, South Fujian, Gaundong, Taiwan being the 4 styles that we see as the main styles of oolong. There are others, but it's worth mentioning. Those are the main styles.
It's more almost like the regions. They have more styles in those regions, but they have very particular styles in those 4 regions.
Yeah, so we're categorizing it. What am I doing? I'm avoiding the question. I think I really like the Langui Ren as well because it's really unique. I reckon the Da Hong Pao for me because I like that mysticism about the 9 Dragon Cave, and I like the idea you can go visit those plants, and I think that sort of continuity of history in that tea is quite nice. I really like that, as well as the flavour. How about you?
It is a really, really nice flavor. It's a funny one. As you like all of them, they're so unique in their own way. I think I really enjoyed the milky one just because it's so unexpected.
Okay, milk oolong. I'm going to give the leaves. The leaves are nice to smell after they've been dampened. You can tell things about a tea from the aroma before, but not nearly as much. All of a sudden, you are completely understanding before you've even tasted how this tea gets its name. And it's of a tone that you find to be very calming, like almost childlike milkiness, where you're really feeling like this is something that's enriching. It's a really powerful emotion, this smell. So that's always good to do. Alternatively, you can put the glass on and smell that, but a good look at the leaves helps.
Yeah, it's almost like anti-stress therapy, just smelling the aromas and feeling good, and yeah, just really relaxing.
It reminds me of a Kinder Egg.
Does it?
It's got this, like, I don't know, it's something very exciting and young and milky about the whole experience, but it's also very floral as well, which it's literally translated as golden daylily. That is Jinshuan, which is the type of milk oolong we've gone for. So it's sweet, it's floral, and it's milky, and it's really calming and delicious. And I'm stealing it from you and not allowing you to have any.
No.
There you go.
Thank you.
And this is really, I guess, why we
So
look at oolong as such an exciting box. It's diverse, it's probably got the greatest range of any tea type. You can enjoy the green, grassy notes that you're more used to with green tea. You can enjoy that more floral, more spring-like quality of a white tea almost in some of them, and yet you're also getting those mineral, dark, earthy, nutty, rich flavours that come from oxidization and roasting in different ways. And this is probably, in terms of your education, a really good place to start if you haven't got into tea before, because it helps you know what you're into. It guides you either towards more dark teas where you head towards blacks, maybe pu'ers as well as they're aged, even though they're not specifically all black tea, but definitely those more mature nutty notes and more earthy mineral notes, or you may find yourself more of a floral, grassy, branching off towards greens, branching off towards whites, as your kind of favourite. And I think, we're not sure what our favourite is. That changes by the season as well.
It does, actually, yeah. It's funny because in spring you might crave something really light and floral, as you say. Now we're coming more towards autumn, where something like dahong pao could be just feel really good. And I guess sort of ginseng, oolong could be a bit more summery, and so it's interesting how each different tea can represent your mood or can represent the season and give you feelings of either remembering your childhood or feeling like you're out about in nature and just finding your inner peace. It's just a beautiful, beautiful feeling.
I think that's it for us, Tea Pros. Enjoy the rest of your bank holiday weekend. We've just started ours. We'll see you next time. Make sure to drop us a like if you like the video, subscribe if you're new. We will be releasing more of these videos as time goes on with different ideas about, we want to do travel, we want to do what are the different tea types, a bit more education-led stuff rather than tea tastings. Let us know if you have any preference though, and we look forward to seeing you on the next video.
Looking forward to seeing you guys. And also, if you'd like to check out the box, we're going to include the link in the description. So if you'd like to, go ahead and give it a try. And Kevin's amazing travel teaware that is so handy. So yeah, see you next time, guys.